Hello, welcome to today's episode of 3D Drawing for Your Model Railway. In today's episode, I'm going to be looking at drawing the cable troughs that we've got in the UK that are used for the signalling cables. They're basically just a concrete U-shaped section with a lid on across the top of it. Now we're going to be drawing these so that you can print them out and just use them as a scenic item on the layout. Okay, so to get the dimensions for the cable trough, I went and done a bit of research on the internet. Obviously the pictures are just going to work from give sort of a feel of the size we want, but if I've done a search and found unipartrail.com, and they've got this PDF that's got all the dimensions of the cable trough, and I think I'm going to go for this middle one here, 004105355, which has an external width of 250mm by 240mm in height, and they're all 1 meter long. So we can design our trough around those dimensions. You can also find a similar brochure on powerandcables.com, and this brochure is probably a little bit better because it actually has photos of what you're trying to do. You can see the exact design of the trough and how it looks if you want to copy it exactly. So you can pick your meds which one you want to work from. It's completely up to you how you go about that. So my plan is to design strips of these that will fit on the build plate. So because I've got an Anycubic photon, I've got a build plate that's 115mm long. So I'm going to go with strips of about 100mm or so, and then I just peel them off and then cut them to the correct length I need to be able to design these around the layout. So jumping into Fusion, I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to pick the base surface. I'm going to do a center point rectangle, just using off the origin. Okay. Size-wise, if we have a look at up there. Okay, so the size-wise I'm going for is 250mm wide by 100 by 1000mm long. So if I go 1000 divided by 148, and then 250 divided by 148. Catch up, and we can zoom in and see what size it's given us. So we've got 1.69mm by 6.76mm, and that's for each cable trough itself. And then we're going to look for the height. We went for 250. Okay, 250 wide by 240 high. Just check my maths on this one. Yep. So I'm going to do extrude upwards. So we're coming up by 240 divided by 148. So that's 240mm high by 148mm by the scale of 148, which is British end gauge. And click on OK. That gives us the basic outside dimension of the cable trough itself. Okay. Now, obviously, for the trough itself, it would be hollow inside, so you get the cables to go through it. Now, I may do that on some of them, but initially I'm just going to do them as strips just for the extra strength. Now, this is the basic trough itself. Looking on the internet, the best I can find is the lid height is going to be this X dimension, and that says it's 40 for all troughs below 350mm wide. So we can add an extra bit on the top here, so we can extrude this again, and we're going to go up by 40 divided by 148. That gives us that extra bit to add as the lid. But one thing before that, if we think of the height as 1.62 here, we're going to want to have something down the sides that gives us some sort of relief there. So I'm just going to draw another rectangle onto the side face. and across. I'm going to dimension the thickness there. I'm going to go for 0.3 just because that gives me a decent sort of width there. And I'm going to probably move this up, so we're going to say 0.25 there. And then I'm going to extrude this bit in the middle inwards slightly, just to give us a little bit of relief. Come in there, say 0.2. I might actually just edit that, make that 0.2 as well. Okay, and we can mirror that across. If we put center plane, sorry, we've already got the center plane because of the origin. So we can do mirror, features, select that extrusion, mirror plane, and use the XZ plane there. That will mirror it across to the other side as well. Okay, and then obviously we want some sort of split on the top as well, so that you've got some relief between each of them. So I'm just going to draw on the top surface, rectangle at each end, going across. I'm going to put that as 0.1 on each end, which gives you 0.2 gap between. So you can just extrude this down by 0.2 as well. Doing a cut, and we can do the same there. We can do mirror, feature, we'll select that extrusion and find that mid plane, which is this one here. So now we've got that little cut out on both ends. Now, as I said, because I'm doing these to make long strips, I'm not going to do these little tongue grooves on the end, and I'm not going to worry about hollowing them out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the mirror tool to create a strip of these. So I'm just going to do create, out of the way, create mirror, and then change this to bodies, select the body, mirror plane being the end face, and that copies along, and they should join up. Okay. Actually looking at this, we haven't got a strip down the side, so if we just go back on that, and then we do a sketch on the side, again using the rectangle tool, I'm going to come up like this, snap to that top surface, like that, and then we're going to do 0.1 millimeters on the side here, and extrude inwards 0.2, and then we can mirror that extrusion, hoping it's not going to do this top bit here. So mirror, features, that feature, mirror plane, select that face there. Yeah, that's fine. And then do mirror, the extrusion and that feature, and then the mirror plane will go. Got it. Let's come on the side. That's that. Mirror plane will be XZ face there. So we now got those little extra bits on the end. It hasn't copied this over. Check that mirror, edit feature, and it didn't select that mirror there, so just add that in as well. There we go, that's copied that. Okay, so now we can go back to what I was saying about making strips of them. So we do mirror body, select the body, select the mirror plane being the end, click on OK, and we can join those up. Okay, so now we've got, we can measure that, so we can go from face on the end there to face there, 13 millimeters. And so we've got, on my photon, I've got 100 millimeters in total length. So you can just draw a few more of these, or mirror a few more of these across. So if we mirror body again, select the body, select the mirror face, and join. And do the same again, mirror body, mirror plane, do that face. We inspect that now. So we go from end face here. So we've got total distance of 54 millimeters. So we can probably do strips of 16, which will give us 108 millimeters, which would just fit on the build plate. So we can just do the same again. We mirror the whole body across the face there. Do a join, and then if we inspect that, that should be the full length that we can do and fit on the build, on my build plate. So we've got, there you go, 108 millimeters. I can do 115. So I can do strips like this of, what, that's 16 cable troughs, and you can probably get dozens of them across the width of the build plate. And total cost, you'd be looking at pennies for these, but you go buy these, you're probably spending quite a bit on some of the ones that are available. So quite a nice little, easy little design there. What I will do is I'll also come back and I'll draw the T-junctions, because I'm sure I'm going to need some T-junctions as well. And the good thing obviously about having this is you don't need to worry if, say, you only needed 10 of these, because all you do is just count them along, and then you could print the whole lot, count along the 10 you wanted, and then just cut them with a Stanley knife. Or if you wanted to, you could use an offset plane and just drag it from the edge across however many you wanted, so only print however many you need. So yeah, quite a nice little easy one there. Okay, so now we've got the straight sections, let's do the T shapes. So just give you an idea of what we're looking at. So when they've got a branch to do, they've got this T-shaped unit. We're going to create a sketch. We'll just use the base surface again, and we'll do a rectangle. I'm not going to worry about snapping it to the midpoint again. I'm just going to do it off floating here. So we're going to have the same as before. It's going to be 1000 millimeters long divided by 148, which is the scale length, and then the width was 250 divided by 148 again. So that's going to be the width of the actual trough itself. Now, looking at the dimensions and plans we've got here, so the width from the midpoint of the main route to the end of the trough is 450 millimeters. So to draw this on, what I'm going to do is use a rectangle again. I'm going to snap to the back edge here. I'm going to drag it across. It's going to be 450 plus 125, so 575 divided by 148. 575 divided by 148 on the length across, and the width again is going to be the 250 divided by 148. And then obviously we see this is offset, we need it in the middle, so we use the constraints at the top here. We use the midpoint, so we'll select, we want the smaller section there, and then we'll find the midpoint of the large one, and that snaps it into the middle there. Okay, so the section from this point to this point isn't square like this, it's curved. So if you look at the picture, you see that's continually curved as well. It's not like it's in a bit and then curved, it's a continual curve from the edge. So we're going to use the arc tool, we're going to use the 3-point arc. If we select the top corner and then the right corner, and then we can just drag this arc around. If you bring it inwards, you'll see it will tangently snap at a point there. So that tangent snap, we select that. We can do the same on the other side. So again, using that arc tool, using the 3-point arc, do the same, snap them 2 points to get a tangent curve there. So now we've got a basic shape. What we can do is select all these features. You could go around, trim all the inside edges there, but I'm just going to select this just as easy. And we'll extrude. So the height we want, we used before, was 240 divided by 148. We did have the lid on the top, so we can extrude that upwards. And that was 40mm divided by 148. Again, we've got the same issue with not having the lid section around it. What we can do to get round that, drawing that on the curve would be difficult. It's doable, but it'd be difficult. So what we can do is I'll show you a different way of doing this. If we undo these extrusions, if we select those parts again, do an extrusion to, if we go to the trough we've done before, we only extrude it to the height of this part here, which is the lower part before we put the gap in it. Then if we go to the top, we create a plan off the top, and do offset, select all the edges, and come inwards by minus 0.2, click on OK, and then we do an extrusion, we roll it over to the bottom of that gap there. That gives us the height of the inset we've got. And then create a sketch on the top again, and do offset again, select that inside face, and add on 0.2 again. That takes us back to the original dimension. We can then select those two parts and then extrude to the top surface. So we've now got that inside relief there. A little bit of a cheating way to do it, but it works. Okay, now if we go onto the top surface here, we're going to draw a rectangle. No, rectangle won't work. We'll draw a line. The reason a rectangle won't work because this is curved. So if we draw a line across, like that, don't worry about the length of it at the moment. Dimension from there to there, and we did 0.1mm for the relief. You could then trim this. No, we don't want to trim that. That's not done what we wanted because it's not snapped to the end here. It's fine. We could do a coincidence, so we snap that part to that line there, and then extrude that down 0.2mm. We don't have the origin on here, so we can't use the origin to mirror it, but if we do a mid-plane between those two ends, we can then mirror on that mid-plane. So if we select the feature, which is that little bit we just cut out, mirror plane being that one, we get the same cut out on this side. And then on the top here, if we create a sketch on this end, just draw a line across again, dimension from there to there being 0.1, and we can again coincidence that to that line, and that one to that line, gives us the correct length, and then extrude that, making sure we're doing a cut, 0.2mm. Okay, so that's given us the relief on the lid. Now I want the reliefs down the side here. They're not going to be that easy because of the curve. So we can do that slightly different way by creating a sketch on the bottom surface and doing a rectangle there. Again, to move on the mouse. So 0.1 by 0.2. Do the same on this side. This one, we're going to draw a line across, dimension that as 0.1 in length, dimension from there to there would be 0.2, and then this line we can snap to the curve there. Do the same on this side. distance inwards, 0.2, and then line from there. Okay, and then we've got these ones on the end here to do. So again, we do a line up. We're going to go in by 0.1. Distance there is 0.2. The edge. Do the same on this one. Okay, and then what we'll go is select all of these sections that we've just drawn. I'm holding shift down while I select all of these. And extrude those. We go all the way up. Yep. Extrude those up to this surface here, like that. They're going to cut all of those. So now you've got construction plane off, so you can see. We've now got the T-shaped trough as well. And obviously you can print these as many as you need to your heart's content now. Okay, so let's say you wanted to have one so that you've got the lid removed, because that does happen in real life. You know, sometimes the lids get knocked off or they break, and you can actually see into the trough. So how would I do that? Well, all I'm going to do is take this long strip here, and we'll copy that body. Let's undo that, get rid of that sketch. I'm going to take that body, I'm going to make a copy of it. So I do move copy, create copy, and then I'm just going to move the strip over. Okay, now I've got this separate one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the lid. So I'm going to create a sketch on the top surface. I'm going to create a rectangle which goes, I'm going to project on that lid and that lid. Then I'm going to draw a rectangle from that corner to that corner. Select those three parts and then extrude down to the height of the cable trough. Okay, so now we've cut into the actual trough itself. The next thing I want is I'm going to want to remove the inside face here. So I'm going to create a sketch again on that inside face. And I'm going to create a 2-point rectangle. I'm just going to create from there to there to remove this part. And drag that down to about 1.2 millimeters and cut. Now, obviously that means this one's hollow, but you do still have these two faces on the end here. Now, the problem you've got is if you cut these through at this width, you're going to end up cutting this off. So what I'd be tempted to do is to then split these off completely. Okay, and I'll show you how I'll do that. So I'm going to do split body. I'm going to select this as a body. I'm going to use the splitting tool as this face here. Split that off. I'm going to do the same on that side. Split this body off on that face there. Okay. So now you've got, turn that one off, that one off. You've got that trough and the two end parts. Okay. So if we start with this trough, what would I do? Well, let's just start by selecting that face, extrude, cut that all the way through. So you've got, try again, try the inside face and extrude that inside face. Do two-sided. One that's going to cut that end off, and one that's going to come through, cut that end off. Okay. We then turn back on these two faces here. I'm then going to draw on that face. That's the one I want. Turn that one off. So I'm going to project on that side, that side, that side, and draw a rectangle from there to there, and then just extrude into the cable trough slightly. So now you've got a little bit of a recess. You can go as far as you need to with that extrusion if you wanted to come further into it, so you've got more missing, less likely to be seen. Okay, that gives you that hollow section there. You just do the same on this part, and you can leave this with the lid removed, maybe put a couple of wires down the middle so that it looks like it's actually got something inside it. But that's the process I would go through to create one without a lid that's got a lid missing. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this episode on how to do all these cable troughs. I'm going to be using plenty of these on the layout, so this for me was a process that was needing to be done. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment if you're playing.